Dirtle Magic! Hello and welcome back. You can follow our post on Twitter and Facebook at DirtleMTG to stay up to date on our latest videos and other posts, and you can join a more robust discussion about casual Commander at our blog, TheDiceBag.blog. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content to help the channel and the blog grow. Another way you can support the channel, though, is through our affiliate links in the description below. If you're looking for single sealed product or gaming accessories to protect all of that glory, please consider clicking the links in the description. Now, grab some spells, it's time to dirtle. Hello and welcome back to Dirtle Magic. Today I'm going to be stepping out of my comfort zone and attempting some spell-slinging manipulation with Rootha, Mercurial Artist. My opponents are Ghen, the greatest of our time, Sidisi, Brood Tyrant, and Borca, Spectral Sergeant. I win the die roll and go first. I drop a Volatile Fjord to start the game. A Godless Shrine comes into play tapped for the Ghen player. Watery Grave shocks no one on Sidisi's turn, and Borca's turn sees a mountain. I play a mountain on my turn and pass. Ghen also plays a mountain. Sidisi ruins the trend with a tropical island on their turn. A plains enters for Borca on theirs. I play an island and then pass, hoping another player might play some ramp I can copy with Dualcaster Mage. Scrubland comes into play for Ghen, and they cast Mesa Enchantress. Sidisi drops a Verdant Catacombs, and cracks it to retrieve an underground sea. They then cast Death Baron. Over to the Sergeant, and a plane comes into play, and they pass. I get a Training Center, and play it. I pass again, hoping again for some ramp. Ghen has a Swamp into play, and they cast Ghostly Prison. A Forest into play for the Sidisi player, followed by their commander, the Brood Tyrant. It enters, and they mill 3, gaining a zombie token. They pass. Borca plays a Slayer's Stronghold, and then casts the Sad Robot, also known as Solemn Simulacrum. They bring another mountain into play from their deck tap, and pass. I gain an island on my turn, and play it, and pass one more time, hoping for that ramp. Ghen casts an Omen of the Sun, drawing a card and creating 2 soldier tokens and gaining 2 life. They then drop an Arid Mesa, and crack it to get a Savai Triumph. Over to Sidisi, and they drop Gisa and Geralf. When they enter, the player mills 4 cards. To the attacks, and the commander swings into me. That player will mill 3 cards, and I take 3 commander damage. To Borca, and all they do is cast their commander. It rolls over to me, and I gain a Venser Shaper Savant on my turn. I play a Command Beacon, and then join the party by casting my own commander, Rootha, Mercurial Artist. I pass with mana up again for potential ramp copying. A Sacred Foundry finds its way into play for Ghen. They then cast the Court of Ire, drawing a card. They also become the Monarch, and pass, and gain another card. Sidisi's turn has a Reclamation Sage come into play, and the Court of Ire is disbanded. On the attack, Sidisi and the zombie token swings into me. They mill 3, and I cast Dualcaster Mage in response for some extra blocking. I block Sidisi with my commander, and the zombie token with the Dualcaster Mage. The mage dies, but I take no damage. Borca's turn has their commander trigger for the first time, and Admonition Angel is revealed and put into exile. Winds of Abandon is then cast on Overload, and I gain a mountain tapped and put Rootha back into my command zone. Borca goes to the attack, and swings into the Sidisi player, dealing 6 commander damage and bringing them down to 33. My turn sees a Chef's Kiss to hand. I cast Culmination of Studies where X equals 5. I gain 3 treasure, and draw 2 cards. I then play Sulphur Falls, and pass. Clifftop Retreat comes into play for the Ghen player. Starfield of Nyx is then cast, which threatens an enchantment army in the future. Curse of Bloodletting comes into play, enchanting the Sidisi player, doubling damage against them. At the end of turn, the Ghen player gains a card from the Monarchy. Sidisi's turn sees the immediate play of an Acidic Slime, digesting the Starfield of Nyx. They then cast Coffin Queen, which I really like the art of, and they pass. To the Borca player, and they recast their commander. They pass the turn afterward. I see a Galvanoth on my turn. I play an island, and then cast the Galvanoth. Ghen's turn starts with a mountain into play. This is followed by a Curse of the Nightly Hunt onto the Sidisi player. Curse of Fool's Wisdom is then cast on me, and I respond with Venser's Shaper Savant, and bounce the spell back to the Ghen player's hand. Ghen then casts Talisman of Conviction, and passes the turn. Sidisi's turn has a Sunken Ruins come into play. Coffin Queen is then activated, and they bring back their Macleod the Unhallowed. Vengeful Pharaoh then hits the field. Moving to combat, the slime swings into the Borca player, who blocks with their sad robot. It dies in combat, nabbing the Borca player a card. Borca's turn begins with exiling Thrill of Possibility. They suspend a Heroes Remembered and move to combat. Borca swings into the Ghen player and deals 9 commander damage, also taking the hat for the Monarchy. Remorseful Cleric then hits the battlefield in the second main phase, and Borca draws a card at the end of turn. On my turn, Galvanoth triggers and reveals a Torrential Gearhulk on the top of my deck. I draw it for the turn. I then cast Athergale and select the Vengeful Pharaoh, Ghostly Prison, Coffin Queen, Acidic Slime, Bell Borca, and the Talisman of Conviction to bounce back to their owner's hands. When Coffin Queen leaves the battlefield, however, Macleod is exiled. I move to attacks and swing both creatures into Sidisi, having my damage doubled to 10 and pass the turn. Ghen's turn rolls with the recast of Ghostly Prison. Talisman of Conviction then re-enters as well. Curse of Fool's Wisdom is then cast again, and the target is me. In response this time, I cast Chef's Kiss, copying the spell and gaining control of the original. Then, choosing new targets at random that aren't me or permanents I control, they come into play, and one enchants Ghen, and the other one enchants Borca. Ghen then casts Seal of Cleansing, and passes. 2 Sidisi, and they drop a Twilight Mire. They tap a lot of mana, and cast Army of the Damned, gaining 13 tap zombie tokens. Baleful Strix then hits the field, drawing them a card. Over to Borca, and Heroes Remembered loses a time counter. They recast the commander and pass, gaining a card but losing 2 life from the curse. My turn triggers Galvanoth, and I get a Wild Ricochet. I don't cast it and draw it for the turn. It's at this point I decide to replace Galvanoth with Melek as a better kind of card for the deck. I cast my commander and pass my turn. Ghen's turn begins with them losing 2 life to their own curse. They play Marsh Flats and crack it to get a Plains. Captive Audience is then cast, and I hope it isn't coming at me. Unfortunately it is. Valve Lightning then enchants Bell Borca. Ghen comes back to the stack, and that player passes the turn. Back to Sidisi, and they play a Gaia's Cradle. Tapping it for 14 green mana, they use some of it for Acidic Slime. When it enters, Ghostly Prison gets digested. With the remaining mana, they cast a flashback Army of the Damned. In response, I cast Wild Ricochet, wanting to save the Reiterate for later. Both the Sidisi player and I gain 13 zombie tokens into play tapped. Coffin Queen hits the sack afterward. She is followed by the Vengeful Pharaoh, and the Sidisi player goes to attacks. All available creatures they have swing over to the Ghen player. Ghen himself is assigned to block one of the zombies, and the rest of the damage is good, dropping them to 4 life. Over to Borca, and a time counter is removed, and a Wayfarer's Bauble is exiled. They draw a card and lose 2 life. At this junction, Borca surrenders for reasons unknown. To my turn, and I let my opponents gain 5 zombies off the trigger of Captive Audience. I draw a mountain for the turn, and play it. I cast the Explosion side of Expansion and Explosion targeting the Sidisi player. I attempt to hold priority to copy it, but unfortunately Magic Online had other ideas. I deal only 8 damage to that player and draw 4 cards. I pass my turn a bit bitter with the outcome, and I'm not going to lie about it. I discard a Terramorphic Expanse at the cleanup step. Ghen's turn has a Temerate chosen from death come into play. Ghen is activated, and Seal of Cleansing is sacrificed to bring back Ghostly Prison. Ghen then passes their turn. Sidisi's turn has them activating the Coffin Queen right away, bringing back the Lord of the Undead, buffing all of their zombies. Gerard, Golgari Lich Lord, then enters the battlefield. They then cast Victimize, sacrificing a zombie token and bringing back a Hermit Druid and a Molder Hulk. Unbreathing Horde then enters the battlefield as a 36/36, and with Gerard into play is easily Lethal Drain. Nyx Weaver then comes down, and the Sidisi player moves to attacks. They swing a horde of zombies at me, plus Baleful Strix, and I move to intercept. I block everything 1v1 and barely survive at 4 life. Sidisi gains the Monarchy from me, although I'm unsure of how I got that in the first place. My turn rolls around, and the Captive Audience triggers. I decide to have my life total become 4 because, why not, I'm at 4. I draw Narumea, which isn't too helpful right now, and drop a mountain. I cast Wheel of Misfortune and wager 2 life. I get to draw a new hand, which I feel was actually a worse hand to have in this situation than my previous one, as I was hoping for an Echoing Truth or Mizizium Mortars. I cast Lear, Disciple of the Drown, and pass. Ghen's turn has them lose 2 life when they draw a card from the Curse of Fool's Wisdom, and they go down. 2 Sidisi, and the Nyx Weaver triggers, milling them 2 cards. They drop a Bayou and then cast World Shaper. Sakura Tribe Elder is next to the field, followed by Prized Amalgam, Wonder, and their commander. They move to attacks and swing everything able. I decide not to block and go down to negative 104. Good game to my opponents. Using spells as the primary force in a game is not my usual playstyle, and I like to depend on a small team of elite creatures most of the time, paired with removal, like in my previous Project Mangara video. However, I do love copying other players' spells and throwing them back at them, so this deck has actually stuck around and been upgraded since this recording. If interested, there is an updated list in the description below, and is currently a work in progress. I might return to Rootha in the future, so stay tuned. I'll see you next time for some more casual Commander gameplay. Until then, stay safe out there.